easily distracted, that is one of the most recognizable traits in children with ADHD. One sound, one movement, and the focus is gone. For a child who is trying to concentrate, it can feel like living inside a world where every little detail screams for attention at the exact same volume. Imagine sitting at a desk in a classroom, pencil in hand, ready to begin a worksheet. Then someone drops a book across the room, a pen starts clicking in the next row, or a whisper floats from behind. For many children, these noises barely register. They come and go like background music. But for a child with ADHD, they are as loud and demanding as the teacher's instructions. The brain does not filter distractions in the same way, and this makes sustained attention feel almost impossible. At home, the same challenge continues. A television left on in another room, a sibling walking across the hallway, the family dog barking at the mail carrier. Each of these pulls focus instantly. Parents often misinterpret this as lack of care or lack of discipline. They may think the child is ignoring directions or refusing to concentrate. In truth, the ADHD brain is wired differently. It is constantly scanning the environment, noticing everything at once, and struggling to decide what actually matters in the moment. To understand why this happens, we need to look at how the ADHD brain functions. In most people, the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for filtering information and managing focus, acts like a gatekeeper. It decides which stimuli deserve attention and which can be ignored. But in ADHD, this system is underactive and less efficient. The gate is always slightly open, so irrelevant noises, movements, or even internal thoughts rush in alongside the important task at hand. This creates what many describe as a brain that feels crowded, busy, and impossible to quiet. It is not that children with ADHD are choosing to get distracted. It is that their brain chemistry makes distractions nearly unavoidable. This has a profound effect on school life. A child may begin an assignment with good intentions, but halfway through, their eyes drift to the window where a bird has landed, and suddenly the entire task is forgotten. Or, while reading a story, they notice the colorful border of the worksheet, trace it with their finger, and lose track of the plot. Teachers can become frustrated, assuming the child is being careless or not trying. But the reality is that these children are working twice as hard just to stay on task. Their mental energy is spent battling distractions that most people never even notice. Over time, this constant struggle can lower self-esteem. A child may begin to believe they are incapable of learning, when in fact, they are battling a neurological challenge every single day. At home, the pattern repeats. A parent may ask a child to clean their room. The child picks up a toy, but then notices a comic book and begins flipping through it. Minutes later, the room is no cleaner and frustration builds. Or, during homework, a simple notification sound from a phone is enough to derail the entire session. Parents sometimes label this as laziness or defiance, but it is neither. It is simply the ADHD brain being pulled by every small stimulus. Recognizing this distinction is key to changing how we support children. When adults understand that distraction is not a choice but a neurological reality, the response shifts from punishment to support. So what can be done? The first step is creating quiet, structured environments. In classrooms, this might mean placing the child's desk away from windows or doors, where movement is constant. Teachers can use noise-reducing strategies, such as soft background music or white noise machines, to mask sudden sounds. At home, parents can designate a specific homework space that is free from clutter and away from high-traffic areas. Even small adjustments, like turning off the television during homework time or keeping the room tidy, can reduce distractions significantly. Another helpful tool is the use of timers and breaks. Expecting a child with ADHD to sit and focus for long stretches is unrealistic. Instead, breaking tasks into short, timed intervals allows the brain to work in manageable bursts. For example, setting a timer for 15 minutes of focused work, followed by a short movement break, can transform productivity. This matches the natural rhythm of the ADHD brain, which thrives on stimulation and change. Over time, these structured routines teach the child that focus doesn't mean sitting still for hours. It means working in bursts and rewarding effort with rest. Visual cues can also make a big difference. A checklist placed directly on the desk reminds the child of the steps they need to follow. Instead of being overwhelmed by the whole assignment, they can focus on one small step at a time. Crossing off each task gives a sense of accomplishment and keeps motivation alive. For younger children, colorful charts or stickers can make this process engaging and fun. Technology, when used wisely, can support rather than distract. There are apps designed to block notifications during study time, ensuring that phones or tablets are not constantly interrupting. Other apps provide focus-friendly timers, digital checklists, or calming background sounds that promote concentration. The key is teaching children to see technology as a tool for success rather than a source of endless distraction. Parents and teachers must also remember that physical movement is a powerful ally. Many children with ADHD focus better when allowed to fidget, chew gum, or move their bodies slightly while working. Rather than demanding absolute stillness, providing stress balls, standing desks, or short movement breaks can actually improve attention. It may look unconventional, but research shows that small movements help regulate focus in ADHD brains. Emotional support is equally critical. Constantly hearing "pay attention" or "stop daydreaming" can harm a child's self-image. Instead, adults can acknowledge the difficulty with empathy. "I know it's hard to stay focused when so much is happening around you. Let's try this strategy together." This approach builds trust and reduces the shame that often accompanies distraction. In the classroom, teachers can use cues to gently bring students back on track. A tap on the desk, a hand signal, or a quiet reminder can redirect focus without embarrassing the child. At home, parents can check in frequently during homework, offering encouragement and helping the child refocus before frustration sets in. These small adjustments prevent distraction from spiraling into complete disengagement. It is also important to highlight the strengths hidden within distractibility. Children with ADHD often notice details others overlook. Their wide focus can make them creative problem solvers, imaginative thinkers, and highly observant in certain contexts. What seems like a weakness in the classroom may be a strength in art, storytelling, or inventing new ideas. By celebrating these strengths, we show children that their brain is not broken, it is simply different. Over time, children can learn self-awareness strategies to manage distraction. Teaching mindfulness practices, such as focusing on the breath for a few moments, can help anchor attention. Encouraging children to verbalize their focus, for example, saying out loud, "I am working on math right now," can reinforce their intention. With practice, these skills build resilience and help the child take ownership of their focus. Families should also prepare for setbacks. There will be days when distraction wins, when homework remains unfinished, or when meltdowns occur. In those moments, patience is key. Progress in managing ADHD is never linear. Some days will be smoother, others more difficult, but each effort contributes to long-term growth. Encouraging the child to try again tomorrow builds persistence and teaches that setbacks are part of learning. Ultimately, being easily distracted is not a flaw in character. It is part of how the ADHD brain is wired. Children need understanding, strategies, and consistent support to navigate this challenge. With the right tools, they can learn to channel their attention, reduce overwhelm, and complete tasks successfully. The journey requires patience from families, creativity from teachers, and resilience from the child. But every small step forward proves that focus is possible, even in a world full of distractions. In conclusion, we must remember that children with ADHD are not careless or lazy when they lose focus. Their brains are operating with a different set of rules, and it is our role to provide environments, strategies, and encouragement that help them succeed. By shifting the narrative from blame to support, we empower these children to build confidence, develop focus skills, and discover their own strengths. And while they may always be more sensitive to the world around them, that sensitivity can also become a gift, leading to creativity, empathy, and unique perspectives. With compassion and structure, distraction does not have to define their story. Instead, it becomes one challenge among many that they learn to overcome, step by step, day by day, with the help of those who believe in them.